Hello, this is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat.
Listen, listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the mums, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen, listen.
And we are going to struggle. Today, I woke up, I had a bit of news, and it put me in a bad mood. So what I did, I reached out and I talked to people via phone call and other things. And what I did, I was in the slump, and me and Jasmine for the last 2 days, we've woke up, we've watched Joe Wicks doing our exercise for 30 minutes. Because I'm used to being a physical guy. I'm used to having to do this thing, and I want to keep on with the exercise. And it's been great for me and Jasmine to do it together.
Yeah.
So that's a good way of us starting the day together.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think just very quickly, we're not going to try and be motivational speakers on this episode because everyone's going through what they're going through. And I think personally, it probably get a little bit worse as well as we probably go more into isolation. So just on what you just said there, I think that's really important that we try and get some normality back in terms of what we were doing prior to lockdown, for example, but doing the important things like exercising, as an example. I've had the wife on the pads this morning. I was telling you, the last person that held pads was you actually. So I had the wife today, and she was doing great. She did a great job.
She's not as good looking as me, though, is she?
Well, that's the only bitch that she let me down in, but no, she beat you on both ends, mate. But no, in all seriousness, like we had a great session. We did like 30 minutes each, built up a good sweat. Then you feel good about the day because you release natural endorphins and stuff. And the key now is when you're isolated within four walls and it's a choice, isn't it? We don't have that choice and the ability to go out. You feel constrained, and the last thing you want to do is consume yourself and start getting your thoughts on top of your head and just struggling really. So I suppose this episode was just, if there is anyone on the page or that's following us, just to know that we're all going through it. Every single one of us has got our own sort of battles that we all need to face. But now, in my opinion, the best way we can do that is just by supporting each other as and when we can.
And reach out. I mean, the beautiful thing about what we're doing here is I've been having so many random people finding me on Instagram, Kev, Lyons, Dylan. If anyone would like to send me a message, reaching out and just saying thank you and talking, and I'm not alone. And that's the main reason why we started this, was we all suffer in silence and we all think we're the only person who's ever been like this. But it's not the case, gang. So now's the time to drop us a message. And if you are one of our loved ones, please phone one another. Because me, as someone who's always surrounded by people, I need it more than most.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I recognized that today when we spoke on the phone earlier. I think about midday, because you're quite you're definitely like an extrovert. You like being around people. You're a social person. Whereas myself, I'm a little bit more introverted. So for me, it probably hasn't affected my life as much, other than not being able to get down to the gym, where I'm now having to work out at home. My day to day is pretty much the same. I work from home. I've managed to design a life where me and the wife work from home. So for me, I'm not really suffering as much, but I can understand people like yourself, and I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of people watching this who like connecting with people, who need to be around other people. And it's, how do we find that now? Because now this is the best way we can do it. We're on Skype now, connecting. You're on Instagram. You're doing amazing videos every single day, where you're just trying to instill a bit of positivity, just letting people know the truth of what you're feeling and stuff. And I think if people can find solace in that, whether through their own medium or through yours, I think that's a great way of connecting. Get used to FaceTiming each other, get used to Skyping each other. It's a simple thing, it's free. We can all use it. And at the end of the day, we're all stuck at home anyway, so we must be doing something.
Talking about for free, because I've got a field at the front here. It's got trees and it's got pine cones. So me and Jasmine have collected them. And what we're doing is we're painting them. Then she picks some daisies. And we've just been painting them and making little pictures.
So,
A whole fence panel that blew down the other week.
Yeah.
And I broke it up. And we made ourselves two swords. Hey, not about the knife crime. I'm not teaching my daughter to
Yeah.
But we've been reenacting Moana. And we're out on the field earlier. And I was teaching my daughter how to climb a tree.
Yeah.
And maybe this is what I want. I don't want to just be sat in front of the goggle box and on the iPad. I want to teach her this is how we can do this. This is
Yeah.
how we can have fun. We'll have dollies, and we can be anyone with our dollies.
Yeah.
We haven't got to sit down and be um, on the computer where it's telling us what to do, what to think, who to do.
Hmm.
This is an imagination, and that's something that we've got, and that's
Mm.
something I want to say about this thing,
Yeah.
because this is going to be remembered forever.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
now's the time to be writing stories, writing poems, songs, drawing, taking photos, because this will be known as the Corona era.
Yeah.
The Corona. So how many songs and poems and plays and films will come for this? So
Mm.
now's the time. If you want to write your memoirs, your autobiography, your jokes, your sitcoms, sit down and do it.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. There's two things on that, mate. So I think imagination's a great one. I think if you've got kids around you, if you're lucky enough to have your kids around you, I think that's a blessing in itself, because we're in autopilot most of the days, where we're just, literally you wake up, you're half asleep, not that coffee back, you straight to work, you come back 5 o'clock, and you have a few hours with your kids, and then it's the same kind of cycle. We now have that moment, and again, it comes down to perspective, which is the second thing, where you now got time with your loved ones, whether it's forcibly by the government or not. We now have that opportunity to spend a lot of time, to go down to the local field and pick up your acorns and paint them and stuff. And this is the kind of stuff, if you had asked me, or if you ask anyone, I suppose 2 or 3 weeks ago, would you like more time with your kids? Would you like to just be able to sit at home and sing songs? We'd all say yes. But now, because we're kind of feel like we're constrained, it's kind of that thing, isn't it? You always want what you can't have. Whereas we sat there the other day, me and the missus, and I said, I used to design my life, and maybe people can do this because it'll get you thinking creatively, and you start to get your juices flowing. We used to say in the morning, my ideal thing was to get my personal trainer to come round, whoever he is, and do some pad work with me. And once I've done my exercise, I eat some healthy food, and then I just do a bit of work, a bit of content blogging or podcasting, whatever it is, and then I just relax. And literally for the last 4 or 5 days, that's all I've been doing. Wake up, exercise, eat some healthy food. And I was telling you, I dusted off the PlayStation a few days ago, and I've been playing that like a little kid. But these little things now, let's just embrace it, and rather than seeing it as the world's against us and we're struggling right now, let's use this as a positive to do the things that we want to do. If you want to write music, write music. If you want to learn that instrument, learn that instrument. If you want to spend more quality time with your kids, we have that ability now. And if we can change that perspective, we'll go from not damaging our mental health, basically, to almost feeling what's the word I'm looking for, grateful.
And don't feel guilty and shameful about feeling like this, because they're the killers. They're the killers, thinking, oh, for goodness sake, I feel so guilty because I told Jasmine off. I feel so shameful because I'm a bad parent. All we can do is our best.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as Aaron says, if you'd have asked me a few weeks ago, when I was at championships every week and with the boxing club 5 days and then 8, and someone said, what would you like? I want to spend more time with my girls.
Absolutely, mate.
And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of the fact, don't feel guilt. Don't have all these negative emotions. Feel it from it. Because more we start going, I shouldn't feel like this. But to acknowledge it like I did today. I felt dreadful today, and I was thinking, I'm not in the right mind frame to be doing this. But my wife's working from home upstairs where I am now, in the old Kev cave in the boudoir.
Kev cave.
But you have to, I didn't have to. I chose to accept the feelings and make it a better day for my daughter, and more time I spent with her having tickles. And I've got a CD, the Disney soundtracks. So every day I'm dancing to Baloo and Moana. If you can't be saft around your own children, what kind of life are we having? They're the most precious thing. So feel it. If you are lucky enough to have a strong partner like I have, explain it. Say, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling isolated. And if you haven't got that, reach out to a friend and just talk. Say, you know what, bruv or sis, I'm feeling blue, and explain it.
Yeah, absolutely. Or reach out to us. I'm happy. I'm sitting at home. I work off my laptop most of the time. If there's helplines or if there's any sort of support that anyone needs, because we spoke about this earlier. For myself, it's fine. I get to sit at home with my best mate every single day, and we get in our space when we need to, and then we both carry on with our day as we need to. But for some people, the home isn't always a nice place as well. So there's a lot of people who suffer with domestic violence or domestic abuse, and there's a lot that goes on. And now we're kind of being forced to isolate. For those people, my heart does go out to them. But in this time, I mean, I don't know the answer off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there are helplines and guidance out there. But if you just need to talk, or if you need us to find that, I'm happy to do that. Drop us a message, and we can try our best to try and be supportive in this moment.
Well, I passed my mental health first aid course the other week with Ian and Matt on mental health first, and they said if you do a physical first aid course and you're hit by a car, your job isn't there to sew his leg back on. Your job is to keep him alive until the professionals come, and that's the same with this mental health first aid. So I am not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, but if you would like to get in touch via one of the platforms and want to chat, then hopefully we can find you the right help with phone numbers and different people. The other day we shared a child hotline, Samaritans, and some of these other things. There are plenty of numbers out there, and if you don't know where to go, please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great advice. And just one more thing I was going to say as well, when you were talking earlier, was about how today you were saying you're having a bit of a funky day. That's not exclusive just to you. We all have those days, and we were talking about it. It's one of those things you can't predict it, because you could have all the stars aligning, and you could just wake up in an absolute funk and think, what the hell is going on today? And one of the things I would say from that is, again, like you were saying about the guilt stuff, you need to feel it, you need to accept it, but discipline really matters in these moments, i.e. with your habits. So if you can just make it a habit that you will just wake up and you will just exercise, you will just drink 2 pints of water, for example, you try and get your fruits and veg in while we're isolated, you'll say some nice things to your loved ones or to yourself as well, which is really, really important. Yes, you might still be going through that funk, but then it'll pass. And if you can just keep doing that, because the last thing you want to do is go down a downward spiral, which happens so easily. You see people go to the gym every single day, then all of a sudden they miss one day, which then becomes a week, then becomes a month. Especially in a time now where we're isolated and we're kind of confined with like 1 hour where we're allowed to go for a jog or something. Let's try and be good to ourselves. Let's try and be kind to ourselves, and just try and keep a few disciplines in place, because at the end of the day, we've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, bang on. And you're going to release some different exercises, aren't you?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So I was actually supposed to do some over the weekend, but I caught a bit of a cold. I'm still recovering at the minute, but I've got like a free template. It's just like 3 different types of body workout exercises. Again, you mentioned Joe Wicks. I think Joe Wicks is taken off again. I'd recommend Joe Wicks. I'm not going to try and be a Joe Wicks or do that. I don't have the time or the energy for that. But Joe Wicks is brilliant. You can get your kids involved. But if there's just somebody there who wants something a little bit more telling, a bit more like getting your heart rate going, I've got a couple of free PDFs that I'll just give out. And reach out in this community, in the Black Country Blokes. Like, if you've got questions, just drop them in, and then obviously we can give advice based on your experience as a coach and my experience as a personal trainer, because these are the times now where we have to look after our physical health and mental health more probably than ever. And I kind of laugh, because I used to kick people and say, well, not physically kick people, but I used to say to people, make sure you get to the gym, because one day, you're not going to be able to do that. And now we're in a time where everyone's moaning because they can't get access to the gym, they can't go to the boxing club. Well, that's why I was saying we need to put the odds in our favor when we can. So for now, around the house, I can give you like guidelines. I mean, I was lifting 2 pints of milk the other day and just doing like shoulder raises. Be creative. Ask your kids. Your kids are probably more creative than us. Do you know what I mean? Because we kind of get pigeonholed as we get older, and kids are got an amazing imagination. Ask them what they want to do, or just play with your kids. I'm sure they'll tire you out within like 20 minutes.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's great. I say me dancing to the Disney CD.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Maybe that'll be a video.
Yeah.
But we watched that Joe Wicks, and at first I was thinking, oh, what is going on? I'm not gonna lie to this. We're in a boxing club. It's great because me and the Jasmanian Devil are doing it together. In between, it's 30 seconds fast, 30 seconds rest, and every time it's high five, Jazz, or Daddy's beating you, and you won.
I love that.
It's fun. You can play together. We do our homework from reception. Thank God she's in reception, because any more I wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got to do. We've got to find We've got to find solace in the madness. And
Yeah.
I honestly believe once all this has come to an end and everything comes to an end, I honestly believe we'll come away from it being better people.
Mhm.
Because you'll remember who the shysters were and the not very nice people and the crooks who were charging you £8 for a pack of painkillers and that person who had to have 1,500 toilet rolls. Hopefully we remember this and we remember the good people who are actually out there asking, I know you're poorly, but does Jasmine need something? Can I drop something around?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think desperation shows people's true colors, because when it's a matter of thinking about yourself in a selfish way, that's where you're going to see these people come about, just for an extra bit of profit. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? But that's a conversation obviously for another day. But yeah, I think hopefully we all come out of this with a better perspective. We're grateful for the things that we take for granted, i.e. just being able to leave the house as and when, just being able to walk past your neighbor or the person in the shop and just say, how you doing? Things that we probably don't normally do or think is a big deal. I bet you especially within a week or so, we're going to be craving that kind of human to human interaction. We're all getting annoyed with our people at home. So definitely we'll leave with gratitude. And another thing I was thinking about as well was finances. So obviously I'm not going to talk about finances because I don't know the full ins and outs. But if you go on the government website, I think they're implementing some stuff to try and help people. So please do that if you haven't seen the news. But
Could you put that link at the bottom of this page as well, please? Because
yeah,
a
yeah,
few people asked me about that and
yeah,
I don't know about that. So if you could put a link, please, just saying this
yeah.
is a way to see if you are okay.
Yeah, so I think all you got to do is literally go on the gov.uk website, so that's gov.uk, and straight away at the top it says coronavirus, and then you click that, and it has like 6 or 9 little squares, and you just choose one. But in relation to that, make sure obviously everyone does that according to your own personal circumstances. But I was sitting there the other day and I was thinking, if you had, for example, this was just a random thought, £1 million in the bank right now, how much better off would your life actually be? Not that much better, which then puts things into perspective that what you have right now, like you would have the same even if you were a millionaire, if that makes sense. I might be just going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it really made me think that we all should just be treating each other the same, that we shouldn't put people on a pedestal just because of their money, for example, because at the end of the day, we all want fulfillment, gratitude, happiness, and we can actually get that and maintain that within our own four walls if we look after our mind and our health.
Someone said to me, money doesn't make you happy, but the lack of money can make you sad.
Mm,
Well, now isn't the time that we're even desperate because
mm,
the big boom hasn't happened yet. I think what a lot of men and women, but I'll talk on behalf of being a man,
yeah,
will struggle with this because the job uncertainty, because we've just come through Brexit, not knowing if we're going to keep jobs, now having this. And a lot of people identify themselves by their job. I
mm,
am a
yeah,
box office. I am. And when that's taken away, you don't know what your role is.
mm,
So something I posted on one of my videos the other day, once again, they're not positive. It's
mhm,
just my opinion for the day. And what I said was, just because you're not earning doesn't mean you're not contributing.
yeah,
Just because you're not necessarily the head of the household financially anymore, you
mm,
can still contribute by looking after your children. If your wife or your husband is working, support them. Don't
yeah,
begrudge them for having a place because you should have a place, but it is a different place.
mhm,
And the key is supporting one another.
yeah,
Don't feel the emotion, ride the wave of being down,
mhm,
but there are other things we can be doing. As you said at the start, maybe you haven't read enough, listened to enough podcasts,
mhm.
listen to your old favourite Biggie Small CD.
Yeah,
If,
yeah, absolutely.
if there's something you've been lacking and you're thinking, I'd love to do this, but I go to work at 6, I come home at 8, that maybe now's the time to start doing something that maybe won't put bread on the table, but
Mhm.
will feed your soul.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mean I haven't really got much to add to that. I think that's a great point. I think I seen a funny meme actually. I think it was last night where it says the men of the world now are starting to worry. You know how you say to your wife, "I'll fix that when I get some time," and now it's kind of like it's coming back around now. So all the guys will probably be doing DIY and stuff around the house. But yeah, we need to really be kind to ourselves first and foremost. And I think that's something we preached a lot. Obviously, this is started with mental health as the main kind of theme behind this podcast. It's close and dear to all of our hearts. And I just worry more so now than ever that it could get worse, because one of the things, I think I mentioned it, scientifically proven, is relationships are so important. So even in this time now, try and keep your relationships going. I find I'm WhatsApping now. I WhatsApp a lot, probably more than I'm on the phone, more with friends than I probably ever have done. And I do the odd voice note as well, just for that bit of communication. But always checking on your loved ones, checking on your neighbors, checking on as many people as you possibly can as well. I think that's really important, because I don't want another epidemic after this. You know, we're trying to bring it down, even one person at a day, but I'm fearful, to be honest.
I think the epidemic will be for these mental health. As I say, one of my very good friends, and I mentioned this on the last podcast with Lee, because they say key workers have got to go to work, but unfortunately, in the mental health industry, they're going into work, but they're not going door to door. Because if that one person, Kevin Dillon, has to go and see Aaron, Lee, Craig, Kate, that person might get ill. But some people are struggling so hard because they can't talk on the phone. They need that human on human interaction. So if you do suspect, like, your neighbour might be lonely, like I live next to an elderly woman. So I go to over the fence and I talk. We stand over, so we're not leaning over the fence, but we're just talking because we need that interaction with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. That's a good point as well. I think everyone has their own level, their own preferred communication style. So for some people, it's I'll pick up the blower and I'll have a conversation with someone. Whereas for somebody else, it's I need that face to face. For some people, it's behind the computer screen or behind your mobile phone. I think whatever it is absolutely fine. But it'd be interesting, actually, if anyone is watching, to maybe let us know what your preferred is, because there is no right or wrong answer. It's just knowing what works for you, and then obviously making sure that you use that.
Because obviously we're going to share this on Facebook. So it sounds like I'm going to contradict myself here. But I'd like to stop putting down Facebook and Instagram as much. Check on it if you need to. I do. I browse through it, but please don't get sucked into the darkness, because this in itself, I love it now. It's, well, Kev, this is a fact. This is a fact. Because and I go, how do you know? It comes from a good source. I talk to Ed from down the road, and his old friend Bill says, fact is something you see with your own eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's something that someone might be telling you, or even worse, might be selling you.
Absolutely.
So with all this kind of stuff, take a bit of common sense. I know common sense isn't too common, but if Facebook is getting you down, start doing something. Having a
Yeah.
boogie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just on Facebook as well. So Facebook, Instagram, anything to do with social media, it's all based on algorithms and it's based on your human behavior. So if you are seeing depressive stuff on Facebook, there's probably a reason for that. It's probably because at some stage in your life, or at a certain period, you were either searching for stuff or you were liking stuff that is of that theme. So what I do now is, if something doesn't serve me or help me move forward in life, I click I think there's three little buttons in the top right, and I click snooze. And I say, I don't want to see that again. And then slowly your Facebook feed will be around the people that you want in it. Same with my Instagram. I snooze a lot of people. You've got to look after your mental health, like, more than anything. So I make sure that the people I listen to, or the information I receive on a daily basis for my head, is a bit like the food that I put into my body as well. Now, I'm not saying here I don't eat bad food or I don't have a beer and stuff, but generally speaking, we know what it's like when you have a dirty kebab, for example, like how your body feels. That's the same with your mind as well. So if people are navigating in and out of Facebook, just be mindful of, the scaremongering, the uncertainty and stuff, which is going to happen anyway. But just try and limit it to maybe just checking in on a friend, for example, or just watching funny videos, like you said. I mean, I was on YouTube just now, just watching the most random stuff, and it's nice to smile. It's good to smile. We need to be smiling right now.
So I think laughter is one of the greatest gifts that we have.
Absolutely.
When you sit there, especially with a loved one, and you just sit there and you have a belly laugh.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's better than 10 points, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That is pure euphoria to me. When you're there and you just belly laugh with each other.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a little titter to a belly laugh, let's try and do more of it, gang, because that's medicine for the soul.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Do you want to end it there, Kev?
I think that'll do us today, gang. So I think we've made some points. Hopefully they've helped you.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm going to leave you with that little quote that I said earlier. Just because you're not earning doesn't mean you're not contributing. Take care of yourselves and just as important, each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Cheers, guys.
Listen, listen, listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen, listen, listen.